Hello, my name is Brad Anderson, and I will be reviewing my Global Competence Self-Improvement Analysis. I will first focus on my personal development and recommendations and a strategy moving forward to develop my intercultural competencies. I will then shift into my industry and company and review recommendations to improve their intercultural competencies as well. Let me start with my personal self-improvement plan. My personal intercultural competence strategy begins with a focus on applying models such as Deardorff's intercultural learning spiral to everyday practical work situations. I think it is important to start with the end in mind. In this case, the end being constructive interaction. I can then work backwards through intercultural reflection, knowledge and skills, and attitudes to look at everyday work situations and what I can do to achieve that end goal of constructive interaction. Building this mentality into my everyday routine will allow these competencies to be ingrained within my behavior. It will be a natural reaction to go through this learning spiral when I interact and encounter different situations in my everyday work situations. The next step to solidify these skills will be to document my intercultural interactions. I think this is an important step at developing my skill set. Maintaining a living document where I record on a weekly basis the situations in which I apply my intercultural competencies. I can highlight both positive occurrences and interactions which I need to improve on. Highlighting these items in one location can help highlight multitude of opportunities in my workplace in which the skills I have gained can be applied. Finally, I need to utilize the resources my company has in place and join a business resource group. These business resource groups are employee-driven and represent groups that have barriers to inclusion. My company has a strong diversity and inclusion policy, and these business resource groups are one component of it. Joining a BRG can build skill sets such as empathy, as they can interact in a constructive manner with other cultural entities. It also gives me a platform to use my other models that I talked previously, such as the intercultural competence learning spiral. I will now shift to my industry and company self-improvement. A little context about my industry and company. The oil and gas industry is already a very globalized business, which naturally creates a need for multicultural competencies. British Petroleum, my company, BP, is one of these global companies that operates in many countries around the globe. Being that BP is a large multinational company, it has already invested significant time and resources into developing intercultural policies. It has created core values including respect and one team that support the overall goal of global competencies. BP has also incorporated a diversity inclusion policy that targets to build a diverse company where every employee is valued. This is just the beginning though, as there is still significant work that can be done in the diversity and inclusion world. My first recommendation focuses on current efforts in the D&I space that are driven from a leadership perspective. To build on that effort, it is recommended that the company educate the workforce at the lowest levels. Training needs to focus on multicultural competencies that help support the D&I principles. The company already has a series of computer-based trainings in place. Examples would be workforce violence or very particular technical skill sets that we need to learn about. We need to establish computer-based training that educates employees on the definitions of culture and worldview that we reviewed in this class. Review the concepts of ethnocentrism and marginality, as well as more constructive views such as harmony without uniformity and multiculturalism without hierarchy that we read in the readings from McDaniel. Layering in this next layer of information will help build on those core values of respect in one team. In addition, review cultural models such as those presented by Hofstede. With employees now owning a core of multicultural knowledge, the company must maintain these competencies. It is recommended that diversity and inclusion champions be appointed within each team. The company will need to commit adequate time to support these initiatives. The individual will engage the team from a D&I standpoint on a weekly basis, supporting the training material for the employees. One focus will highlight intercultural conflict management as explored by Ting Toomey. Scenarios highlighting cultural values such as individualism versus collectivism and power distance can bring awareness to many practical situations that relate to employees. Another focus will build intercultural conflict management skills such as mindful listening, face management skills, and collaborative dialogue. Looking at these skills in a practical manner in everyday work situations that is governed by the diversity and inclusion champion will be a great benefit to everyday employees. BP has already committed to business resource groups for groups that face inclusion barriers such as age, gender, and ethnicity. It is a great step the company has made, and the recommendation would be to further develop the capabilities of these groups. Use the BRGs as recruiting tools at university job fairs, promoting the message of multicultural workplace that is inclusive. Engage the BRGs with D&I champions to share conflict management scenarios. And lastly, BRG groups can bring awareness to successes in intercultural competencies as shared by the D&I champions. In conclusion, pursuing the outlined strategy will foster an environment of continual improvement. The best way to build both industry and personal intercultural competencies is to continually utilize the skills we gain, which this plan hopes to achieve. Thank you very much.